Hi and welcome back to the channel. Now this video is the first day of the Izaak Walton 3-day Jubilee Festival. Fished on a Thursday, Friday and Saturday. Obviously this is the Thursday. There's 25 fishing and you're rotated on 3 pools. If you draw bottom pool first day, you're in a section of 9. The other sections have got 18. Now I've drawn peg 17 on bottom pool, which I wasn't that impressed with, if I'm honest. You haven't got an island chuck, so you got to hope the carp are in open water in front of you. Another thing I felt was going against me was the wind was off my back, blowing to the far bank. So I was a bit concerned that the carp will have followed it. But hey ho, I'll try my best. Opposite me, I got Alan Dewhurst. He got off to a great start, plopping a pellet out at 16, 17 metres, and occasionally catch a carp doing it. Now, I'd never felt there was any carp here, not many anyway. So I started the match by chucking a little water waggler to see if I could land it in front of anything, see if I could stir anything out in the lake, whilst priming a 16 metre line with pellets so as I could slap and hopefully catch some carp doing that way. It's worked for me a lot on this lake. Like I said, I was a bit concerned about the wind, and we all know carp like to follow the wind. But anyway, it is what it is, and although it'll be a big weight to win the pool, to get good section points, you don't need such a big weight. So hopefully I can do enough to get some good section points to get myself off to a decent start. So like I say, I started on the waggler. I never felt it was going to go under, but it was worth a look. Next move was to get on the pole at 16 metres and try and slap for a carp. For this I'm using a 6mm Robin Red pellet, and I'm obviously feeding 6mm pellets as well, 6mm Fin Perfects. So anyway, I started slapping this and I was sitting there 10-15 minutes, and all of a sudden I saw a carp coming towards me to my right. So I took the opportunity to try and mug him, and I hooked him, and I thought, happy days, here we go. And the trouble was, he was foul hooked. I don't know where I ducked him, to be honest, and he did not like it. It was quite a big fish. It'd have been nice to have got him out, but he didn't like it one bit, and he swam out into the middle of the lake. I've got as far as I can with the pole, and bang, he's gone. So that's not a good start. It actually broke my 019 hook length like a piece of cotton. Not a great start.
Dear me. Damn it.
So no hook length on, another pellet, and crack on. Back out to try and catch some fish slapping. Damn it, damn it, damn it. I must have been doing this for nearly an hour and I never had a single indication. And I was starting to get really worried. They definitely weren't coming into the feed at that point, so I tried dropping it around the peg, just picking it up and plopping it around, going towards the corner to my left to see if there was anything sitting there and see if I could just stir a bit of a reaction, hopefully dropping a pellet in front of a fish. I tried down the edge. I just tried everywhere I could think of to just try and get a reaction. I've been doing that 15-20 minutes, nothing. Back out to the side of my feeds to see if there was anything sit off the feed, nothing. Back over my feed, nothing. All the time I'm looking around to see if there's any fish sitting under the surface anywhere. And I can't see a fish anywhere. So I'm back around the peg, moving around. Just trying to find a fish. And there you go, I've got one. Happy days. I must have been doing that for an hour or so before this bite came. At this point, there's only Alan Dewhurst that's really catching any fish. Nobody else is getting much at all. So if I could do this for a bit and catch a few fish doing this, it'd keep me in the race. I'm not going to win the section. I'm not going to beat Alan. He's got off to a flying start and there seems plenty of carp in his area. So, and he's doing the right thing the way he's fishing it. He's just plopping a pellet out in front of him. He's not putting any feed in because there just seems to be fish there. So, like I say, he's doing the right thing, just plopping a pellet in front of him. And occasionally he's getting a bite and then big fish. I'm feeding because I feel there's nothing there and I'm trying to drag something in. The island pegs to my right, the one immediate to my right's had one little carp, and the next one, which is chucking to that gap where you can see the scarecrow hanging from the trees, he's had a few fish chucking to that gap. Not many, but there's fish there to be caught. I need to hope for a bit of luck later in the match that the fish will come down the edge maybe and help me to build a weight, because it doesn't feel like there's too many fish here at the minute. I'm using 15 Dura slip on this rig, which is a great elastic, and that's married up to our 19 hook lengths. Like I say, if I'm hooking carp, I want to be able to get them out. If them foul look like that first fish I hooked, you've got to be lucky, and I just wasn't lucky this time. is in the net. That's me off the mark. Got to be an hour into the match, maybe a bit more. But at least I've got a fish. That's given me a bit more confidence to carry on doing what I'm doing. It's like I say, there's not a lot being caught around the pool other than Alan opposite.
How big is yours?
Still keeping feed going in on one line though, 16 metres directly in front of me. And hopefully at some point I'll have some fish move into that feed. Just checking all my sections are secure before I ship out. Don't know what I was picking up there, to be honest. Maybe it was a couple of pellets, I'm not sure. So back out to where I've just took that one, and hopefully there'll be another one there. Or around that area. Unfortunately there wasn't. So we're 2 hours in now, and I've dropped back over the top of my feed. Slapping away. And bang, there's one. It's drew something in eventually. Happy days. Hopefully there'll be some with him. As I've said in previous videos, when I'm playing carp on the pole, I always break my pole down in two, so if they do have a run and I need to add some sections, it's easier to add 2 or 3 sections than it is the whole pole. It just makes sense really. The wind slightly changed direction for a bit, which gave me a little bit of hope that some fish would move with it. As you can see, it's coming down the pool, pretty much blowing into my corner, and I was sitting there praying that it'd bring some fish with it. It got me a bit more optimistic, put it that way. Landing net went in the water there, and he tried to go behind my keep net, so dropping the landing net in front of him turned him round. Got some going them this week, these fish have. Just doesn't want to give up. Not going to rush him though. Here we go, he's in. Another decent carp.
Not so many again,
And that's fish number 2. Hopefully there'll be another one in amongst them pellets when I go out there. Pellet's still in the band. Straight back out there. Checking the sections again just in case. Always check your sections when you're slapping. If you can see there, look, the wind's turned round again. It's going back across the pool now. It seemed to do that for most of the day, and then occasionally you get a wind drop towards you. It changed round a bit. So it'd only blow in my direction in spells. I didn't feel that was enough to bring any fish with it. But next drop in on the slapping rig, and I have an indication. So there's something there. Is it a carp? Is it a roach? No indication. So another 3 slaps. Nothing. Bang. Fish. This has got me thinking we might be alright today now. It only took 3 or 4 minutes to get that next fish. So hopefully the persistent feeding that I've been doing from the off has brought some fish into the peg. Put some feed in, hopefully to line another one up. Not so big this one. Doesn't matter, it's a fish. It's a few pound in the net. There's not a lot going on around the pool. Feel like I'm in contention at the minute. Obviously not for the win, because I already know that Alan's going to go on and win the section. I just need to try and stay on his tail. And I feel I am at the minute. Although his fish are bigger, I'm now catching fish. Quick feed before I ship out.
Your peg, George.
All the time I'm looking around me to see what's going on. And not a lot is happening. I'm always looking to see if there's any mugfish about when I'm shipping out as well. That wind's still blowing over to the far bank. Further 10-15 minutes slapping. And just as I went to pick that one up to slap it again, there must have been a fish holding it there. Or I've hooked him as I've gone to slap, as I've gone to pick it up. You could call it perfect timing if you like. This one's even smaller than the last one, but still, I'm catching some fish now. So I'm happy. Only around £3 this fish, but still, he'll do. And that was the last fish I caught all day where I'd fed any pellets. So I'm back to dobbing around the lake, in the edge, out into the water, trying to find another fish, and I never had another indication. I've got 4 fish in the net, but I don't know where my next bite's coming from, and I'm starting to get concerned. I keep feeding it, hoping something will happen, and it just doesn't. Right, so now we've probably got 2.5 to 3 hours left now, and I'm desperate to try and make something happen. So I'm going to fill in the edges and hope that I can attract some carp down the edge. To my left, I've fed 6mm pellets out my hand. It's nearly 3 foot deep there, and I felt that anything other than pellets I'd have a nightmare with if any carp did come into the peg. So I needed to feed heavy baits there. But to my right hand side, I got a nice bit of shallow water. So I decided to feed ground bait there and fish either corn, worm, or a bunch of maggots over the top of that if the fish came into it. But I've fed it, and I'm just going to keep my eye on it now and see if anything does turn up. You'll soon know if any fish turn up there because it'll colour up. Picking up the waggler again and see if I can catch anything past where I can feed. Just into open water, just plopping a waggler out there and just hope that I land it in front of a fish. I had a good 10 minutes doing this, never had a sign. The wind's blowing even stronger to the far bank now. I just feel that there's no chance I'm going to catch any fish. I really don't know where my next fish is coming from. So I've come to the decision now. The only way I'm going to catch anything now is by fishing in the edges. So I drop in on the pellet to my left, and I don't get an indication there. So now I'm trying a line further away from myself at 16 metres along. It's like nearly 4 foot deep down there, 16 metres down the edge. And I have been warned that it's really undercut the banks here. I've got to be a bit quick and try and get them away before they can get into that undercut, because it's full of roots and branches and all sorts under there. If fish gets under there, it ain't coming out. So I decided to feed that with some corn and 6mm pellets. And then while I give it 10 minutes to settle and hopefully attract something in, I go back out on the pole and try and slap a carp. It just doesn't happen. So it's time to go and have a look where I fed that corn and pellet, and hopefully there's something down there. So I'll slip a couple of grains of corn on the hook, 5 or 6 grains in a pot, and we go and have a look. Hopefully there's something down there. I hadn't been in there long, and it was down. I'd got one. I managed to get it away from the bank. Wasn't a big fish, but it was a carp. Happy days.
Alright? Found one. I thought it was a big fish, but that was a new fish. I don't know if it's more shocked me already.
Only a couple of pound or so, this one. 3 if I'm lucky.
Come for the fish.
Further 10 minutes fishing there, no more indications. So I'll top it up again. Leave it alone for a bit, see if it can attract another fish into the peg. A few more grains of corn, a few more 6mm pellets. Still looking down that edge to see if there's anything turned up down there. Not a sign of a fish. So I'll give it a bit more feed. Just try and drag something in. Couple more pots. Wind's changed direction again. Blowing slightly to my left. So So now I'm having a look on my short line on the 6mm pellet, see if there's anything coming in over that. And it never moves, never get an indication there. Nothing at all. So I decided, because I've caught a carp on that far line feeding corn, I decided to switch this line to it as well. See if I can get something there. And although I haven't seen any indications of any fish coming into my right, I have a quick look just in case something snuck in that I haven't seen. And I don't get an indication there. So I'm back down to the 16-metre line now, down the edge, to see if there's anything turned up on my refeed. And I hook one. Unfortunately, I can't get this one away from the bank. He's gone under, and I can feel it grating on branches and all sorts as he's under there. This is a goner. So after an initial bit of pressure, I decided to drop the pole on the water and just leave it there for a minute and see if it'll swim out of his own accord. No chance. Not a prayer. So I'm going to have to pull for a break now. He's definitely not there. He's gone. He's left me on something. So I managed to pull it off one snag. And when I'm fishing heavy gear, it's not easy to pull it off. So I've pulled it off one snag and it's pulled straight into another snag. So there must be loads under there.
Trouble when you use strong gear, eh?
So be ever so careful when you do stuff like this. Yeah, look, that's pulled into another snag, that has. It's rammed with snags under there. Yeah, it's out. Unfortunately, that rig was obliterated. Flat was okay, but the rest of the rig was just done for. So, like I say, I swapped that pellet line to corn. Gone in, I've had a bite straight away. But this is a bream, not the targeted species, but I hadn't caught anything for a couple of hours, so it was welcome. Half decent fish. And we're in the last hour now. If I don't catch anything down the edges, I am going to do no good whatsoever. Back in another bream. This one a bit smaller. And I still haven't seen a sign of any fish coming in down that right hand edge until the last 10 minutes. I saw my first sign of a fish coming in my right hand edge with 10 minutes to go. And with 8 minutes to go, I hooked my first carp down there. I'm sitting there feeling it's too late to do anything now. So I made short work of this one and got him in the net pretty quickly. It was a big fish as well. Fishing double corn. Good fish. See if I can get in there and have a couple more before we finished. Like I say, we've got about 7 or 8 minutes left of the match now. So I'll be lucky to catch one, never mind two. Feisty fish as well. Because I got him in so quick, he's still got loads of energy. So another pot of feed to try and drag another fish in. That's Match Method Marine, that ground bait is. A lovely Sonia Bates mix. And I'm baiting up with double corn on a size 12 XSH. Again, I'm using strong tackle. 17 Duraslip, 019 Reflow Plower hook lengths. So as long as I hook them in the right end, they're coming out. It's in there a minute or so, and I've got another carp. This one's not so big, but very welcome. We've got about 4 or 5 minutes left now. Hopefully I can catch one more after this one to avert a disaster. That's carp number 7 for the day. Another quick feed. I'm racing now to try and get that last fish in the net. Two pieces of corn again. Please have time for another one. Unfortunately, it's finished. I don't get a chance for another fish. So I end the match with 7 carp and 2 bream. Alan Dewhurst on the far banks weighed 122. And second in the section up to this point, he's only £57. My 7 carp and 2 bream only went £43. It was a disaster. So a terrible start to the festival. And I only beat 3 on the lake out of the 9, so I finished on 6 points. That's not the start I wanted. But I just never felt I was on any fish all day. 6 hour match, and I ended up with 7 fish in that whole 6 hours. I've really struggled. So festival's over before it's even started, to be fair. So the last 2 days I'm fishing for pride. So stay tuned and see how I do on the last 2 days. So next up I'm on Canal Pool. There'll be plenty of bites to be had on that match. So that'll be interesting. If you enjoyed watching that, give it a thumbs up. If you'd like to see more like this, please subscribe. Cheers.
Thanks for the